Hey, so the stress response is a real mechanism. It's only been discovered within the last 10 to 12 years that they're really beginning to understand it. And I'm coming here because I want to inform you that when we are stressed or the body is chronically stressed, and this could be mental, physical, as well as environmental, the digestive system slows down. And the importance to this is very simple. There's a purpose to it, but yet what happens when it's chronically activated, we no longer break down, especially our sugars, more specifically proteins, as well as carbohydrates. Now, here's the interesting thing. The body has an amazing elimination process. So we don't get a lot of sugar backing up in the system because you have large particles of glucose that are no longer being usable by the cells. So the yeast feeds on it. This is a reason why you will crave carbs and sweets. So as I was saying, this is why you crave carbs and sweets. And when we don't break proteins down well enough, the body can no longer use it, and it mistakes it. It doesn't understand that it's not a microbe that's trying to attack it, so it begins to build antibodies, hence autoimmune disorders. But more back to the sugars, right? This is why you have yeast. And so as you begin, and we oftentimes don't even realize we have it. And again, a few decades of chronically being stressed, and we live in a world that gives us every reason to be on high alert, especially emotionally, but then we have hundreds, if not thousands, of chemicals that we're exposed to on a regular basis. This is going to slow this process down of digestion. It's going to keep it inactivated so much so that you're not using your sugars properly. And as I said, what happens is now we already have yeast, and yeast is truly a mechanism that the system. So isn't that amazing? I mean, really, we have this mechanism for scavenging sugars. But there again, now the yeast begins to grow because it's scavenging, it's feeding off the sugars, so we develop yeast throughout our tissues. And oftentimes, like I said, we don't know this. This is one reason why we get a lot of congestion in our body, but we don't realize it's yeast. So then when you start to use essential oils, you might actually break out in a rash. And one other issue with using essential oils is actually constipation. So a couple of oils, let me just make some suggestions for oils that you could use safely that would begin to improve your digestive process and allow your system to begin to flush yeast. Okay, and then I'll give you a couple of other suggestions in the event that you have constipation, or actually help move it out, because like I said, it will back you up as the body starts to dump this, because so my focus is digestion, clearly. So essential oil suggestions that are safe to use with medications are cardamom and coriander. Those are two really good ones to actually begin to use with your digestive system. I would actually throw black pepper in there. I'm not going to tell you why right now. If you want to know more, DM me. But in the meantime, cardamom, coriander, and black pepper. Now, as I said, it's going to start to push yeast out. If you have some, you may say oral thrush, you may develop vaginal yeast infection. It may come through your skin, and it may also cause constipation. So that said, you could add celery seed and laurel leaf to this mix to help keep things moving through the lymph, protect the kidneys, as well as move the bowels. And if you do get backed up, take an Epsom salt bath, because that Epsom salt bath is magnesium sulfate. So the body needs sulfate for the sulfation pathway. It is how the body detoxes itself. So that's one of the reasons why Epsom salt baths are great. You can do it every day. You can put some laurel leaf and celery seed in that water as well in the event if you are backed up. So those are your suggestions for oils to use to help begin the digestive process. It will also help benefit and cut those cravings for carbs and sugars, because you're actually helping to eliminate the yeast. It's huge. So let me know if you have any questions about that. My goal is, I've had three clients this week with all at the same thing. So I just really want to share this. I thought this was valuable because a lot of us don't know that we're actually carrying this around, and we don't understand, because one of the symptoms of having high yeast is mental or brain fog, lack of mental clarity, sluggishness, irritability, are all signs